Well, hello and welcome. Today I'm hoping this will be like a really fun, beautiful and easy painting. I'm going to be doing another snow scene because I'm really loving those right now. And this one's got a snowy hill and a field with some beautiful trees on top, clouds in the sky, sun shining through them, a little bit of fencing in the snow, and yeah, some pretty shadows, trees. But overall, I don't think this will be a really strenuous one. I've been trying to alternate between doing challenging paintings and then doing paintings that are just a good time and result in a pretty picture. So hopefully this will be one of the latter. So let's start out by mixing a liquid layer. I'm going to use a warm peach, I think, for this one. I've been really liking how that works out. And I'm seeing that that's kind of the tone that's right above the tree line. So I'm thinking that's going to work well for this. I'm going to start with a peach base layer. I'm going to mix in some other colors while it's still wet. Yeah, I'm just going to get into it, and I might mix a little bit of knife and a little bit of brush, and kind of pop back and forth for this one. Something I try not to do, but I've been feeling a little bit more called to, so I'm gonna try that. Alright, so for my base layer, I'm gonna grab some white, which has a little bit of red in it already. Let's just mix that around and see where I'm at. Add a little bit more cad red light, a little bit of cadmium yellow. That'll be a nice bright one. I love this combination. Add a little bit more white to that. Just make sure I have plenty of paint. Let's see. I'm going to add in a little bit of solvent and a little bit of linseed oil too. I'll keep this one liquidy a little longer this way. It's all nice and blended now. That is going to be just perfect. Okay. Grab this brush. Yeah, I think that color will be perfect. Okay. Just grab a little bit of solvent on my brush. Coat the whole canvas with the liquid pink. little more solvent. Just stretch it. I'll even this all out. So it probably went on a little thick. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but a lot of people maybe get confused between the difference between paint thinner and medium. And the difference, the easy way to remember, if you ever get confused about that, is paint thinner will just evaporate out of your paint, so it doesn't stay in the painting, whereas medium is actually sort of the glue that holds the paint together, which obviously the paint comes with some to start with anyway, but medium will stay on your painting. It doesn't dry off, it just hardens. So they just both give different properties. That looks pretty nice though. Just finish brushing this out. Okay. That's pretty good. All right. So I was thinking about, I think I might actually do this as well. This is wet. I'm actually going to brush in a little bit of blue in the top part of my sky. Just sort of blend that in. I'm going to use some cobalt for that, and I'm going to wash this brush out first. Just because it is very, very white right now, and I actually want to try and bring this to be fairly dark and blend it in while it's wet. A lot of times I don't do too much with like toning and blending things in my first layer, because I tend to kind of use it as a starting place and then work over it with thicker paint and just sort of build up the depth, but it's good to try new things, right? So, clean this out. A little bit more lavender oil to my jar. And so this lavender spike oil is a solvent, and that works sort of like, if you've heard of mineral spirits, it's kind of a replacement for that. And then I have some linseed oil here, which I actually don't use a lot of, but from time to time I mix it in, and that's a medium, and it will kind of make the paint a little bit thinner, but also not as, I don't know how would I say that, makes the paint a little bit more liquid, but not necessarily thinner, I guess. And again, that oil will stay on the painting too. Just slightly different tool for a slightly different job. But in this situation, I just used my brush cleaner, and I'm going to just use a little bit of this solvent to clean out the brush cleaner, because I don't actually want the brush cleaner in my painting. It's a little bit more complicated to do less toxic painting processes, but I want to do this long term, so try to keep it sort of healthy for me. All right, so I've got some cobalt here. I've just got straight cobalt. I'm gonna try that going right in here. I'm picking up a little bit more blue. pit in my mirror. Just go across this a little bit, feather it out. Did get a little bit more homogenized than I was hoping for, but again, that's not a big deal. I can easily go over it and sort of shift the tones a little bit. Just gonna sketch in this hill here as I see it, just so I know where it is. And I'll have my trees here, sun here. It's actually, it might be a little high. It's okay. Nothing says I have to get it right the first time. Sometimes I think it's just as much about knowing where to go next when something doesn't go as planned. And that's as much part of the practice as anything else. Like that. Okay. And let's get this brush cleaned and get on to some knife work. I'm thinking about starting in the sky. Maybe I'll do a little bit of work with the trees first, actually. I'm gonna stick to a fairly large knife at first for this. I'm gonna do a mix of burnt umber and maybe some ultramarine blue, actually. There it is. I'm experimenting with blues a little bit. Had a little cobalt out. Got a little ultramarine here. I love phthalo, but it gets into everything. So I'm gonna just try some ultramarine. Ultramarine's a little bit more subtle. It's just a little bit warmer, which I think is fine for this. I'm gonna start by just sketching out a rough outline of where I want these trees to be. normally start with these, but I feel like they're such a strong silhouette. I've actually been really into the textures I can sometimes make when I go back in and sort of rework the sky around something like this. It's a little bit complicated, but it can yield some nice results. I'm gonna just scrub this in a little bit to start. Kind of looking at the shapes of these different branches, where they go sort of out from a trunk and where they go sort of straight. Like every tree has its own language, how it does this. And like kind of trying to observe the differences. Assume this might be an oak tree. I don't really know for sure. Looks kind of oak tree shaped though. A group of oak trees, I guess, really. I like that. I got that little stump there. This little root. Let's try and see if I can do it on the other side. It's a little tricky. Kind of got to get the right feel. Here we go. Every shape is its own little puzzle to get the knife to work. But you kind of just have to try it. There we go. All right. Now the other thing I want to start working in is this further back tree line. Kind of goes in here behind the hill. Try that. It's very dark as well. Just sort of plop it in there. This will get a little bit more dust to it later. Put a little bit more blue in this area. Just kind of pull it up so that it's kind of hints at all of those little trees that way. And go back in a few layers. That's pretty good. Almost thinking about grabbing a little bit of this original layer here. Just bringing it in. This knife's kind of fun for working some different textures in for these far away trees. probably bring this part a little bit darker, but for now it's okay. It can be like that. Let's see. Now I'm going to start working on I'm doing cool tones, so I think I'm going to keep to doing cool, and I'm going to bring in some of these darker clouds that are sitting in front of the sun. And those are a mix of some purples and then also some kind of more vibrant peach colors. Start with the blues. Alright, so I'm going to take some of this ultramarine again and maybe a little bit of alizarin. Start by making like a purple. It's very dark on the edge here. Mix in a little bit of my original color too. Just see what it looks like if I bring it up a little bit. Let's start there. Save the darker one in reserve. This isn't not thoroughly mixed. I'm just kind of putting it on the way I see it. Alright, as I get in toward the middle here, I'm actually going to make, let's see, some of this is just about getting approximately the right colors in the right spots to start off with. And just some straight ultramarine as well. Winding some of these dark colors in. Okay. And then I've got a little bit more of that up here as well. A little bit, just kind of weaving this in. I'm going to bring the branches back over this afterward too. So it's not something I'm going to worry about right now. Just mostly when I get my clouds in where I want them. So I have the colors roughly in place. Switch knives. This one off. Left a couple of my knives in a messy state. I'm normally pretty good about cleaning everything as soon as I get done. But I don't know what I was doing the other day. Everything cleans easier if you clean it right away. If you wait, that's okay too. It works. There are ways to deal with it, but it adds up to a lot more time. Alright. So, got my little round knife now. And I'm just gonna kind of work these edges a little bit and just kind of fade in a little bit here. I feel like this one, it works out really well for just sort of sculpting trees or sculpting your clouds and making them flatten out and take different shapes on. Mix up another sort of warmer tone here. The cat red light is pretty close. Maybe just like a touch of alizarin. And then some more white. That's a bit dark. Good. Maybe just a little more of this cat red. Yeah. Pop in a little bit of this light here. I see it. There's so much going on in the sky. I'm gonna have even more light coming through here because I've got the sun shining through the trees. And this whole area is gonna really light up, but I think that will wait. I'll wait for my wax layer for that. Let's see. Put a little bit more light in there. That's pretty exciting. Okay. Just these little bits of cloud that are just catching the light. And I want to go, actually get risky. I'm going to use a little phthalo and a little bit of ultramarine. I'll pop in some really dark areas here, but I'm not gonna let that travel too far. It's gonna stay in this little dark area. Okay. Maybe just a little bit more up here. I wish I could find. I have to look and see if I can get another knife this size, or this shape, but in a different size. I haven't found too many of them around. I know they make really big ones, but I haven't seen any quite like it that are smaller. Here we go. Let's see. I'm liking that. I think I may fade out some of that with a brush selectively. So easy once you get started blending. You can blend so many things, and you can lose some of the life of it. But you can also create a lot of depth too. So it's a balancing act. Let's see. I think I'd like to mix in a bit more dark to this layer down here. Well, I've got all this stuff wet. It's a good time to do some mixing. Kind of put a little texture in this, and then flatten it out though, because I kind of want the texture mostly in this top edge here, and the rest of it I kind of want to sit a little bit quietly. That's what I'm doing. That's pretty cool. I like that. I like how that fades now. Thing I want to do is I'm going to mix up my shadow color for these trees. I think that some of this cobalt, this peach actually might work really well for that. It looks pretty good. So scrub this in here. These shadows are coming toward us, so they're going to get bigger as they do that. And get a little bit more cobalt out. a little bit of snow texture here that's just catching. I don't know if it's probably not footprints so much as it's just little drifts and things. I'm gonna texture up this hill with some shadows from that, shadows from these trees. Okay. Okay. And there. I'm not as worried about the edges of these. I want them to be in the right spot, but I know I'll be able to give them a little bit more definition when I do the light area over it, which I'm going to do with wax. So I'm not overly concerned about getting all the shapes exactly perfect right now. I do like them to be somewhat smooth, like this sort of shadow. I don't want it to be overly textured. I'd rather show the texture in the snow, the light snow. Simplify this a little bit. You can always poke some light through it later, but right now I just don't want to have it light where I want it dark later. Let's see. I feel like I could even go a little darker. Especially right here at the trunk. It's rare to feel like I've actually put too much contrast in. Usually I regret it more when I don't put enough. So some of it's just predicting where it's gonna go though. Let's see. Got sort of a lighter blue. As I get more over here, I'm gonna actually switch to a different knife though. Let's see. Yeah, let's try this little one. It's got a little bit more of a smaller edge. Just kind of thinking. So I've got these kind of zigzag shadows. They're sort of crisscrossing their way down this hill. A little lighter. Then I'm going to have A little bit of shadowed snow here as well. This is under the fence line. Okay. I'm just kind of swishing this down. I don't want these lines to like have really thick edges on them. That's about right. Okay. Let's see. I guess I could put my fence posts in. Those are going to be pretty dark. Thing about painting old fences is you can just kind of stick them in. They don't have to be too perfect, because probably the fence isn't too perfect either. Just using a sort of mixed up dark color for these. I've got a couple going back along this edge here. I do like to refer to the photo for the spacing. You can do the math for the perspective, but if you have something real to look at, it's a little bit simpler. Kind of patching up that area there. Let's see. That's fairly good for there. I'd probably adjust those a little bit, but I wanted them in place. Let's see. I feel pretty good about where it's at right now, though. I think it might be at a stopping point. Just deciding if I want to blend any edges. I don't want to go too crazy with it, but maybe just a few. Okay. Screaming just a little bit of solvent on this brush. I just want to fade that. About kind of creating this variety here. I'll just soften a little bit. Okay, it's a little bit there. This upper edge and the most sort of softness to it. not really worrying so much about the texturing of this, so much as I'm just kind of creating some more little branches and things that are coming off of this. Maybe even just refining the shape of the tree a little bit. There we go. All right. Getting a little bit risky here. Possibly put in too much, but I think that'll work. All right. All right, and I'm back. Looking forward to getting going on this one again. Gonna just kind of jump into it, but basically I'm gonna mix up a few different tones of wax. And yeah, I'm gonna actually start in with the foreground, which a lot of times I work from the furthest back, but I want to give a chance for everything to come together and then decide on how I'm gonna handle the sky. I'm tempted to layer in some wax over that as well, but depending how I feel about it, I may leave it kind of simple and faded like it is. So yeah, we'll see. Get a clump of wax out. I might need more, but we'll start with that. All right. So I think that the first color I want to start bringing in, and actually, yeah, I'm definitely going to want to start working the sun tones in from this treed area. I'm bringing in some oranges and some yellows and a little bit of green into this area here. So I probably am going to start working the sky a little bit. I also want to bring sort of a lighter, slightly more yellow, white to some of these foreground areas that aren't in shadow. I think I'm going to start by mixing that color up. Use a little wax for it, but I'm going to mostly use a little cat orange, a little yellow ochre, some white. Let's see where that lands. It's really layering it a little bit here. probably switch knives and just get one that's a little bit rounder than this, but for now this will work. Okay. Right in here. Start kind of reshaping some of these trees. It's a nice place where basically all those cool tones are dry now, so I don't really have to worry about accidentally mixing them in. I can kind of make these edges a little bit more defined. As I do, it starts to give the impression of the branches. I like that. Make a slightly warmer version of this. Just kind of put this little glow on the edge here. Okay. It's good. It's really got that sort of glowing appearance now. I'm going to go even a little bit whiter here. Maybe even a little bit more yellow. I'm going to grab a little bit of this cad yellow light. Just put that in there. And maybe a little bit more white as well. And more wax. this way that the wax sort of thins out and sort of breaks at the edges. I think it works really well for snow. It just gives you this sort of drifted look immediately. It's a little bit, I've got it on here a bit sharp right now just because of this knife, but I'm going to switch and smooth it out once I have the shapes in place. This is a good one for making nice shapes, so you can get into little areas, but it does tend to leave everything a bit more jagged looking, which can work for some things. There's probably no knife that does absolutely everything, or brush for that matter. Go even a little bit more white. Maybe you could even go, this might even be a little bit purple. Snag just a little bit. Tiny bit of alizarin, tiny bit of phthalo, which will probably still be too much phthalo. Got a little bit of everything in there at this point. I just want this to be not quite as vibrant, a little bit further back here. It's still pretty bright. But not quite as bright as everything else. A little bit of surprise there. Okay. Keep on working here. I'm gonna leave some of this original pink underpainting showing through here too. I don't wanna lose all of that. I did have it in there for a reason. I think it just gives a nice warmth to everything. So I'm not worried about doing perfect coverage on this area. Actually, it's like a little bit closer, a little bit rougher. There's more footsteps in the snow here. Start by laying that in. But more of this yellow. Take a minute and switch. There it is. texture for a little bit with this little knife I haven't used in a while. I like it because it's an oval shape, so it's actually good for getting rid of some of these hard edges that I don't want. I'm just gonna kind of lightly move across this in a sort of horizontal way. Start texturing some of this further away now. Just sort of gives that impression of the little rips and drifts and things. Starting to kind of light up already. A bit of color there. Like that. Yeah, it starts to give it just a nice softness. Starting to have a little bit more scale to it this way. Sometimes it's not about like, I don't know, getting in every little last detail. It's just about having things make enough sense that your brain fixes it. I really believe in that. I think our minds are pretty magical. And they figure it out. They also figure out if something just looks like terribly off. I like that. That texture's looking really good there. I know there will come a point in this winter where I'll get sick of painting snow and I want to just start thinking about warm places. But for right now, I might as well enjoy it while I'm enjoying it, right? I think there's something about like the quiet of winter and the snow, and you know that like on a day where the snow has just fallen everyone's a little sleepy. It's just extra quiet. I love that. I'm gonna try doing a portrait with this wax sometime soon. I think it would work really well for skin tones. It wouldn't be extremely smooth, but sometimes that's not what you need. That's nice now. It's already kind of glowing. Let's step back for a second. I'm gonna start putting in some sunlight, I think. Alright, for that, I'm gonna use this cad yellow and maybe a little bit of cad yellow light, which I'll try not to get too much green into. And just a little wax to start. I'm gonna layer some white in over this, but I want to start by bringing the sun area in where I see it. Kind of dragging this even in over some of this texture that's already here. That's about right, I think. It starts even just picking up on these little branches. I'm going to take, I think, a little bit of yellow ochre and some white. Let's see. It's a little bit too brown. Maybe just this cad red. I'm just going to grab a little bit more of this cad yellow light, but not from that back pile because it's a little messy. So I'm just going to put a blob there. I didn't add any wax to this, I'm just putting a little bit of paint straight up on here. I think that's fairly good there. Grab some white, some wax, a little bit of that yellow that I had. Just gonna start building this in here. I don't know, it's not gonna probably stick fully. I'm just gonna scrape a little bit away. I don't really need this to be very thick here. I do like it having all these different colors. Do that. Put this white back in. Going in here now. And defining some of these areas where the sun's going to be coming through this tree a little bit more strongly. I don't want it looking like it's on fire though. You might have overdone it a little bit. We'll see. Okay. That's a place to start. Do you want the sun to be around here? Just kind of carving that away so that I can smooth it out a little bit more. Try that for now. I want it to be like round, but not have like a defined circle, I guess. I don't know. It's a little tricky to get the right shape. It's probably good enough if I just work out the rest of it that's around it. So let's start doing that. I think I'm planning to darken some of these areas of the tree and just make the silhouette a little bit stronger, but I think I want to work in around it first. So yeah, I think I'm going to build up some more wax in these clouds. And very likely over the rest of the sky too, but we shall see. Okay. So I'll start with this warmer area. Actually just grab some of this, mix it in. That edge of the bottom of the cloud there, that's nice. Probably a little bit more of that up here as well. I find this method of going, back in a day later like this, be really effective for having kind of strong contrasts. Sort of a way to not have the paint overly mixed. Let's see, that's pretty nice. Because I mostly did cool colors yesterday, I don't have to worry about mixing this in. So obviously it would just turn brown if I mix the orange into the blue, which can be nice sometimes, but isn't what I was going for here. Okay. that. Start bringing a little bit more light in down here. I think. Oops. I almost ended up with light everywhere. Okay. Trying to make a real nice sunny yellow, but not quite as bright as the sun itself. So I'm actually going to mix a tiny bit of blue in here. This is going to be cobalt. It's going to be ever so slightly green. I might have to lighten it a little bit from here. That made it pretty dark. So go a little bit more yellow, a little bit more white. This is a nice opportunity to give a little bit more character to these trunks too. A little bit more white, a little bit of that color, a little bit of wax. It's going just a little bit brighter up here. Okay. Do just a little cobalt, a little white. And do just a little cool area over here. kind of set off this group of clouds that's above it. Okay. A little bit more white. Let's go a little lighter with this. Kind of get a feel for how this stuff layers once you do it a few times. It's really satisfying actually, but it is a bit strange at first. Okay. That. Maybe just like a little bit of this orange. It's not like a flat blend, but it's just got just a little bit of depth to it, like it's got some tooth. Same thing here. Just smooth it out. Nice. All right. And then as I'm moving into this area, it's getting more gray, more blue. I don't want to do too much with that right now, but maybe just a little bit of blue. Since I've got it, I'm gonna throw it in over here. See, I thought I would end up in the sky. It's just once you start working on the clouds, it's hard to just leave this flat. This is a sky painting for sure. Not all paintings are sky paintings. Some paintings are about something else, but this one is really about the snow and the sky. So it's okay to put all the emphasis there and really build it up. I kind of want like a purple. I've kind of got a little bit more blue. There we go. Just bring in just a little light flicked onto these edges here. Just really makes that tree line come to life a little bit. The other thing about doing some of the sky, at least later on, is it does let you have all this opportunity to take reflections and reflected light and really use those colors throughout the painting. Whereas if you have your sky color set early, And you can mix up anything you want and use it whenever, but I feel like this just gives it a nice cohesiveness too. All right. That's exciting. Bring in even more light up here. Move this out a little bit. It's a little streakier than I wanted it to be. So I'm just going across it one direction, across it the other direction. It's not really that different than how I mix it on the palette. Just kind of simplifies it. Less busy that way. And so I'm gonna fade up into a sort of deeper blue up here. Should be a little bit similar to that. And then some of this lighter area will kind of come in here. I've got some dark edges on the branches. I am gonna wait and do those last because I just don't want to mix I don't want any of those darks tempting themselves to mix with the sky. So I want to keep this whole edge really bright. So I just keep bringing this in. Probably get a little bit more white out on my palette. All right. Just gonna keep going. I've got to just fill in some more here. I'm gonna mix up my sort of boldest one. Yeah, that's nice. This one's mostly cobalt, a little bit of white still, but it's close to as dark as that gets on its own. A little bit more white in now to keep these two piles kind of separate. So I probably want to make a middle one. Lighter. I'm not worrying too much about the texture yet. This is just, I'm really trying to get the right color paint in the right spots. Probably smooth this out a little bit. There we go. Some of these little orange streaks in here. They're not really right, but I like them. So I might keep them anyway. As Bob Ross would say, it's your world. And, you know, it is fun. It's fun to spend a little time in my world here. Oh, that's really fun. So one thing I'm seeing here is that I want these to kind of connect with each other. I'm gonna put a similar texture down here. Since this is sky that's lit up, and this is sky that's lit up. I didn't really want to do that. Just bringing a little bit of this and this together. Just kind of makes them relate to each other, so you get the sense that this is what's going on behind these clouds. I'm gonna build up the cloud edge a little bit more, and I'm going to do a little bit more with my trees. I think I'm getting kind of close though. I'm liking where this is going. Okay, so I think I've got a little bit more of this kind of cobalt. Maybe some of this sort of fiery, streaky pink too. I'll just bring that in up here. I want to kind of, some of this is as much just kind of getting like a consistent texture. I like these brush strokes in here, but I want them not to be quite so separate from the rest of this. So I'm just bringing in a little bit of wax over this. Letting some of these lines show through. Kind of has almost like, it feels like a drawing a little bit, which I like. Highlight that edge there. I love this little edge here. Once you have the wax sky and a wax cloud kind of up against each other, just sort of wobbling them together to blend it. Just kind of gives you these little wisps and things that are part of the scene. Just gives it so much a feeling of light. That's pretty cool. Okay. I like that. That's feeling pretty good. All right. Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave most of the things as they are. I'm gonna put in just a couple of sort of last dark details. Debating. I think I'm gonna stick to knife for all of it. So I want to put in these lines on the fence. And I want to do some more with the branches, but I think I'm just gonna stay with the knife. I'm gonna make a little space on my palette. I don't want to mix all this light stuff in. I'm just gonna go to my favorite combo for dark color, which is alizarin and viridian. I need to get a little bit more alizarin out. Alizarin, viridian. I think this will be a good knife for this. I may mix a little bit of wax in, but I think I'm gonna start by just keeping this dark. Just putting a little bit more shadow on these posts on the far side. These closer ones, I think I'm gonna leave the further away. That's a little bit more faded. That works. And then I want to do a little bit more on these trunks. Same kind of idea. up a little bit of light here too. I actually wasn't intending or expecting that to work out like it did, but actually I like it a lot. All right. Let's see. Like that a lot. Okay. I think that's pretty good. Oh, my strings on the fence. It's actually barbed wire, but I don't really want to think about it that way. There's one last detail that I don't think I need it. There's actually one little post here that's leaning up against this one, but I didn't put it in and I didn't put its shadow in, so I don't think I need it. Cool. All right. Well, I think this one was pretty fun. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you have a wonderful day or night or whatever you're off to next.